Hi all, in this video we're going to be playing with Gangless Ingus, the firefish, and we're going to be showing exactly how broken Immortality is. This is going to be going against Lily in hard mode, and we have Orzurk with the 150 extra damage. We also have a power that increases our damage by 40% if we hit their weakness with fire damage. And we also have our power that gives us 80% extra damage, but we take a little bit of damage at the same time. And also, volcanic rain is very broken in this game, so we're going to be using that as well. But this is just going to show you how broken Immortality is, and this Gangless Ingus is going to tank the boss with literally only 1800 defense and over 7,000 attack. We do boost our Gangless Ingus with food. We give him a healing potion to keep his little bit of passive up, and then we also mount him to use his attacks, then unmount him so he uses his attacks, and we basically get like a double hit. But as you can see in the video, we are basically just face tanking the attack. This is obviously on casual mode with 0 changes to the game. And I want to emphasize this, there was 0 changes, it's default settings on casual mode, as you can see by the damage. If you ever see anyone who uses pals and do crazy damage, like they do like one shots that do like 99999 damage, that's because they've gone into the settings and changed the actual damage numbers that you can do. If you check it on casual mode, you are going to struggle to hit 99999 every time. You might be able to hit once, but realistically you're not going to hit that sort of damage on a normal unmodified game. But as you can see, Gangless Ingus, the Immortality passive gives him 100% damage regained as health, and you can see he's basically face tanking. Even though he's getting hit by water, his weakness, he is actually face tanking this to the point where as long as I keep hitting him with only 1800 defense, I can actually regen quicken what I can actually get damaged. And you can see in this video I'm getting hit left, right and center, but the Gangless Ingus fish is just doing absolutely massive DPS and just completely re-healing himself before he can actually get damaged to the point where he needs to worry. And this is how you beat most of the bosses in game. You find a power with their weakness, and you basically just put Immortality on, and it basically makes you into a leech life god. I'm just going to show you now my team setup, because you didn't really get to see it on that match. So right, just to show you the team setup, what I actually did in this game is you give the Mammoth Curry to your Gangless Ingus. It will give him 1 buff. Then you give him advanced recovery meds. This will give him a constant 15 HP per second buff for the fight, and it will buff him up a little bit more. In terms of his specs, you will have around 7,200 DPS. Why is this important rather than defense? Because if you go over to Immortality, 100% of damage dealt and restored as health. So the more damage you do, the more you restore. Yes, HP is important. Yes, defense is important, but the lower the attack, the lower HP you can restore. And as you can see in that fight I was just doing, it is very important to do high DPS, high damage, because what you do 100% restores your HP. This is extremely important for survival, because this is basically do DPS to survive, do damage to survive. Okay, you don't sit there and tank it, you literally attack it, basically like a berserker class if you think of it. And then we've got Twin Edge Holy Blade, which is obviously more damage, less defense. It is a trade-off, but the extra defense is basically HP. And I was getting hit by water attacks, which is kind of my weakness in a sense. I was taking extra damage from that. We have Demon God, which is a 30% attack and a 5% defense buff. And then we have Serenity, which is a necessary skill because it reduces our active cooldown of Volcanic Rain, Fireball, and Lantern Sweep, which is going to give us our HP regen. As you can see, we have maxed this Ingus out to a maximum level 80, and we have awakened him, and we also have him at 100 on potential. In terms of the other party, we have Orzhok, which obviously gives us a 150% defense and offensive buff when we are fighting. So obviously we are at 7,000 now, but then you add 150% on top of that when you're actually in fight with the 30 stacks for Orzhok. Then we also have this Celestial Noct, which will obviously give us the extra 80% attack on top of that. Remember, the more attack you have, the more damage you do, the more regen you have for your HP. So obviously the more attack you do, the more regen. Now this counters Celestial Noct, because Celestial Noct obviously does damage over time to you, but that does not matter because of the 80% extra damage you get will be the tick damage you take will be cancelled because you will absorb so much health from doing your damage. And it also gives your PAL auto health regeneration 100%, so it slows down that tick damage as well. Also, we literally just using Jonatide Ignis for his buff as well, which is 65% against burning targets, and we were fighting a plant-based PAL just then. And then we have this guy, Finsider Ingus. This guy basically gives you 40% extra fire damage when hitting an element weakness. So if you're hitting grass with fire, that is going to be your elemental weakness, and you're going to do 40% extra damage against grass. Okay, so ideally we should have been doing 40% damage on top as well, and obviously the more damage means the more leech life we get with Immortality. Immortality is probably the most broken skill in the game, and it stacks with pretty much everything, which is amazing. So if you can make a PAL, it doesn't matter what PAL. I'm just using Gangler English because we're using against a leaf type, a grass type. We had to use a fire type, and Gangler's English is probably the best fire type based on his partner skill of 25% increased movement speed. And if we have two fire types or water types, you actually get 25% each for each different type you have in your party. So I got 50% extra movement speed because of Gangler English partner skill. So it just stacks. Gangler English just seems to be one of the better fire types in the game. But yes, that is my team setup, and that is basically you don't need to use Gangler English, but any type, if you use like their weakness, so you can do more damage to your opponent against any boss, it will actually work extremely well. And the more attack you have will stack with that Immortality, and it'll basically give you the Berserker status where the more damage you do, the more you heal, and you can basically face tank pretty much any tower boss in the game. And you can actually beat raid bosses as well, like this. And yeah, it's just incredibly potent skill. As long as Immortality is there, you can put these on your raid teams as well. If you have Immortality and stack Immortality with other guys by breeding it is probably the quickest way to get Immortality. If you breed 2 pals with Immortality, it's very likely you're going to have Immortality on the breeded pals with the eggs. And with Immortality, it's going to make your raid team extremely tanky if you make them able to deal a lot of damage very quickly and keep your HP up. So it works well against every single boss in the game, tower boss and raid teams as well. So yeah, I would make this video on how broken Immortality is in this game in a minute, and it's probably the best skill in the game if you are able to stack everything with it as well. But anyway, hope you liked this video, guys, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.